Day 220 of 365. You missed me. So the first message is listen to yourself. Understand that you are the authority of you, and when you are called to have a break, detox, whatever it is, do the thing that you need to do for yourself. That's how you build self-love, but that's also how you operate with integrity. Part 2 of the message is I watched a really beautiful film yesterday called Revolutionary Road. Such a classic, and it stars Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. A really beautiful film, really heartfelt, and really touching, and it served as a reminder that you are a participant in your life, and so it's so important, even more so now than ever, because some of us have such vast amounts of freedom that I think we can often take for granted. When you watch a film like Revolutionary Road, you really do gain insight into how, like, on the clock, how badly women have been treated, but also how, as human beings, we have kept ourselves stuck in narratives and spaces, stages of life that don't serve us. And it's really important to recognise and own that we're in a new age, we're in a new time. Don't be your biggest limitation. Understand that the more you broaden your mindset, the more you open your mind, the more you work on self, do your shadow work, the more becomes available to you. More is available to you. There's expansion, and it really is just a really beautiful film. So watch that, Revolutionary Road, starring Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. And part 3 of the message is Rich Rising, doing part 3 of the message on day 221 of 365, because I recorded like 3 times yesterday and it didn't work, so let's see. But the third part of the message is was about the term forgive and forget, and I thought about this yesterday and I'll break it down. So forget, you can forget until you're reminded, and when you're reminded for a reason. It is not wise to forget things, and obviously you wouldn't want to walk through life every day retaining things, but when you are reminded, there's always an important lesson that I believe. You're being reminded not to repeat certain behaviours again. You're being reminded to not allow people to do certain things again. You're being reminded of a feeling, and that feeling is telling you something. So it's important to pay attention and forgive. No. And that doesn't mean you've got to be angry or walk around holding a grudge or even seek revenge. It's just forgiveness is sometimes not ours to give. I think forgiveness can often be other people's way of making themselves feel better about their conduct, their behaviour, their evilness, their ugliness, and actually it isn't us to give, for us to give. Forgiveness is sometimes not available at all. There are things in this life that have happened, do happen, that are unforgivable in this lifetime and the next. And so all that we are doing when we are saying we forgive people really is making them feel better. But it's not our duty to make people feel better for the atrocities that they cause, the terrible things that they create. And obviously I'm not talking about small minor things, and that's also what you've got to be mindful of, because if behaviours are being repeated time and time again and there's no change, why would you give forgiveness? It's a bit silly. It's definitely something that is used to make you, manipulate you, you know. Why would you forgive being mistreated? What I say is that I won't forgive, but I can accept that you've shown me who you are. I can accept that this is your behaviour. I can accept that I don't have to have you as a part of my life. I can accept that this is an innate evilness within you that potentially cannot be changed, and then you move accordingly. So be very mindful with the words that we're using. You know, forgive and forget, I'm sure, have probably ruined a lot of people's lives because people haven't been able to act out how they actually want to, and not even necessarily act out, because that's what I'm saying. Not everything needs to be fought with a fight necessarily, and a physical altercation. That's what I'm talking about. Everything doesn't have to be a physical altercation. Everything doesn't have to be like, as I said, you walking around holding this big grudge. It just is having awareness, and if you have awareness, you move accordingly. If you have awareness, you choose differently, you behave differently, and you're making informed choices. So you can say, I forget until I remember. And when you remember, you pay attention to what you're being taught, and you can say that I'm not going to forgive, but I will accept that you have shown me who you are, and move accordingly. So that was 3 parts of the message. The first part being take rest when you need to, detox when you need to, come off social media when you need to, even if you're using the platform in positive ways. The stuff that comes up on the algorithm, the things that you're being fed, all have an impact on your mental health. So be aware of that. Whilst it is brilliant, it's amazing to be able to be aware of all the things that are going on in the world and all the atrocious things that are still happening in the world. Of course, people are also aware that it takes a toll on everyone, and so never be scared to kind of come back to yourself. Always come back to yourself, you know, always ground, come back to yourself, and stand in your power because it's yours. The film I was talking about, Revolutionary Road, I think it's called. But if not, check back to the first bit. Yeah, just again a really beautiful film with a really powerful message. But my biggest takeaway, I guess, was like how we have those types of freedoms afforded to us now, and we would be wise to be aware of that and use it to our best ability instead of continuing to carry on loops and not evolve, because that's a problem. And then, yeah, lastly, as I said, forgive and forget. I'm never going to use that term again now because it just seems like someone trying to pull wool over your eyes. You know, you shouldn't forgive. You shouldn't forgive. And some things, as I said, is unforgivable. It's not even yours to forgive. But forgiveness in the sense of like letting things off the hook. No. Like you don't have to. Let people live with their choices. Let people live with their decisions. Let people live with their evilness and their ugliness. Let people live with that because they made the choice to behave in such a way in the first place. So either they change their behaviour and repent in that way, or that's it. You just know how to move accordingly, and you forget until you remember. And when you remember, pay attention to the lesson. There's always a lesson. And of course, love yourself. The most important thing you can do in this life is love yourself, because when you love yourself, you're going to move appropriately anyway. You're going to make sure that you make informed decisions for yourself. You will slow down and take the time to be wise instead of rushing into doing things in the way that maybe you see everyone else do it. Because everyone else is doing something is not a wise decision. Because everyone else is doing the same thing, it doesn't mean that you should be doing it. Most definitely not. In fact, I've always thought that if everyone's doing it, I actually don't want to. So, there you go. Words for thought. Have a good day.